Good morning students, welcome to the topic biostatistics. So in this video lecture we will be discussing about the different terminologies which we use in statistics, and also we will be just introducing the topic biostatistics a little bit. So mainly we will be concentrating on the different terminologies and also a little bit about the term called as a sampling. So statistics or the biostatistics, mainly the statistics, it is a branch of mathematical science which specializes in numerical data, and it deals with the collection, compilation, analysis and interpretation of observed data for drawing conclusions and making predictions for the future policy planning. Statistics is a branch of science um, merely deals with the collection, analysis and interpretation of data, and it has the wide application in the field of biology. The word statistics seems to have derived from a Latin word called as a status and from an Italian word statista, or from a German word statistic, means the political state or the government. And it now serves as one of the most important tool in making decision and the problem solving. So in the singular form, the statistics represents a scientific method of data handling, but in plural, it represents the data collected by a scientific method. The statistic is taken not as a mere device for collecting the numerical data, but as a means for handling and analyzing the data, and also for drawing valid inferences from them. And it is hardly possible to enumerate even a single department of human activity where the statistic does not creep into. And statistics is deeply rooted, the subject in which the statistic is deeply rooted includes economic, commerce, biology, psychology, education, etc. And it has a wide application in the biological field also. So biostatistics is also called as a biometrics, or literally it is called as a biological measurements. So in practice, it represents a quantitative biology which involves application of statistical methods to the problems of biology, including the human biology, medicine, public health, agriculture, veterinary science, genetics, etc. And this biostatistics helps to explain the various biological phenomena and derive logical conclusion for applying the basic principles of statistics. And the application of statistics or the biostatistics includes the study of living organism in relation to the environment. So in brief, we can say that the biostatistics is broadly divided into descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. This descriptive statistics deals with the collection, organization, summarization and presentation of data, and whereas the inferential biostatistics concentrate on making the inferences, testing, then making hypothesis, determining relationship and making the predictions on the data collected. So there are the two different biostatistics. The one, it is mainly the descriptive biostatistic, and the other, it is the inferential biostatistics. So let's see. So this is a picture of showing the statistics. So it's mainly a theory will be there, and the question to answer and the hypothesis to test. And for this question to answer and the hypothesis to test, a research design is made, and for this research design the data is collected by certain measurements and observation. Then after collecting the data, these data are organized in order to make it sense by using the statistics. And by using the statistics, or the different goals of the statistics are to describe the characteristics and to organize, summarize and to condense the data which is obtained. And this is what we call as a descriptive statistics. And after this, we will just interpret the data. We will test the hypothesis, we will make the conclusion, and we will understand the relationship. That is called as an inferential statistics. So there are the descriptive statistics and the inferential statistics. So once again, this is a slide showing the complete idea about the statistics. So in statistics, based upon the certain theory, the certain questions or certain hypotheses are being stated, and in order to prove this hypothesis or in order to solve this question, we just design a research. We will just design a research, and for this, after designing the research, we will be collecting the data for this research, and this data collection will be in the form of observation or in the form of measurements. And after the data collection, these obtained data will be organized, and for what it is organized, in order to make it a sensible data. So we'll be organizing the data in order to make it a sensible data. Then after that, we will be just describing it, or we will be just inferring it. Describing in the sense that we will be just organizing, summarizing, and condensing the data. And inference in the sense that we will be testing the hypothesis, we will be making the conclusion, interpreting the data in order to understand the relationship. So that's a complete picture of statistics. Then next, there are the certain terminologies which is used, and before passing into the terminologies, this we will just discuss about the target population. That it is a critical to assess for the success of the research project to clearly define the target population. So if we are just collecting the data, we will be collecting the data from a population or from an area, and the area from where we are just collecting the data, that area is called as a target population. It's called as a target population, and it is very critical to the success of the research project to clearly define the target population. So before collecting the data, we have to be clearly stating or clearly studying that particular population, and the population should be defined in connection with the objectives of the study. So we have to choose a particular population for the study by clearly understanding the purpose of our study. So we must be very much critical about the population which we are choosing for the study. And apart from this population terminology, there is a terminology called as an element in statistics. It is an object on which a measurement is made. So an element is an object on which a measurement is made, and once again, the population is a collection of elements about which we wish to make an inference. So a population, it is a group. Population, it is a group on which we are just studying. Then there are the sampling units, are the overlapping collections of elements from the population that cover the entire population. So sampling units are the representative units from which we are taking a population. For example, this is an area, and this is one population in that area, this is the other population in that area, and this is the third population in that area. So these are the three circles are the population, and from that we are just taking the sample. So this is a sample that we are taking. We are taking the two samples from one population, we are taking the another two samples from the population, and another two from the third population. So the population, it is a group where, or this population, it is a particular group that we are taking in. We are just focusing our study. So the area will be the large area, and from that area we are just concentrating on a particular population, and we are not taking all the data from the population. We are just choosing the particular we are just taking the particular samples from that population. So these are the sampling units. The next is a sampling frame. It is a list of sampling units. A sample, it is a collection of sampling units drawn from a sampling frame. And the numerical characteristic of a population is called as a parameter. The parameter, it is a numerical characteristic that we are taking from a population. And the numerical characteristic of a sample is called as a statistics. So once again, this is the population. So this is a population which will be enclosed in an area, and we are just taking a population, and from that we are just taking a few samples. The population is a set which includes all the measurements of the interest to the researcher, and the collection of all responses, measurements, or the counts that are of interest. Or we can call this sample as a subset of a population. So this is a population, and this red circle, it is a subset of a population, and that is considered as a sample. Okay, so for example, if we want to measure if we want to determine if we wanted to measure the oxygen of a particular pond, we are not taking the whole water from that particular pond. We are just taking a few ml of the water from the pond, and we are just doing the estimation for oxygen, and we are getting the value for the oxygen, and that small amount of water that we are taking from the pond is called as a sample. Okay, so hope it is clear for you, the term sample and a population. The whole pond water can be considered as a population, and similarly there may be the different ponds in a particular area, and we are just choosing one or two pond to collect the sample. The pond will be the population, and the water which we are taking from that will be the sample. Okay, hope it's clear for you. Next, why sampling? Why we are just taking a particular samples in order to determine the value? So it will be very difficult if you are taking whole population under consideration. So in order to make our study easy, we are just taking the samples from a particular population. So it will require only less cost for the study, less field time, and more accuracy will be there. And when it is impossible to study the whole population, we will be just taking a sample. So for example, if you want to estimate the oxygen or the amount of oxygen in a particular pond, amount of dissolved oxygen in a particular pond, then it is not practical to take all the water from the pond and to estimate the water for the oxygen. For that reason, we will be just choosing the few samples from that particular water. Okay, so hope that's clear why we are using the sampling. So these terms we have just already mentioned it. So once again, the sampling, it is a process of collecting the participants from the population, and the sampling refers to the process used to select any number of persons to represent the population according to some rules of the plan based upon the selected measures. And in general, the statistics and the survey methodology sampling is basically concerned with the selection of a subset of the individual from within a statistical population to estimate the characteristic of the whole population. So the individual samples which we are taking will be the representative of that particular population. So this is a particular population, and we are just taking a few samples from this population, and these are the different subjects present in that particular sample. So this is the concept of a sample, and we are not taking whole population for this measurement.